Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hall Wines Happy Hour. My name is Catherine Hall. I am so glad that you all have joined today. We've got a very special guest. Ruth Behrs is joining us. Beth, you know Beth from Two Broke Girls and more recently from The Neighborhood, and we're going to have a lot of fun. She's been doing so many very exciting things that I can't wait to talk with her about. First, I want to give everybody an update about our effort to raise money for wildfire relief. So as many of you know, we have just experienced the worst fires in the history of the wine country. We had the glass fire here in Napa Valley was the worst ever. We had a record in 2017 for the worst fire in our history. That record was beat in 2018, and again we beat it again in 2020. So it looks like this may be a situation we have to continue to deal with, but that is life as it is being given to us here in the wine country. We at Hall really have been very lucky. We have lost some vineyards, and that has affected the quantity, not the quality, but the quantity of the wine we'll be able to produce this year. But none of our facilities and none of the homes of any of our team has been damaged. So we all feel very lucky. At the same time, many of our friends and colleagues here in the wine country have suffered considerable loss, and we want to do what we can to help. So we have partnered with the Redwood Credit Union, this wonderful organization that does so many things for our two valleys throughout the year, but they have partnered with us this year to help raise money for the fire relief for the fire victims. You can donate to this cause by going on the Hall Wines website. We have a special link there for Hall Wines RCU Fund, and you'll see that when you come, that money goes straight to the credit union. One of the things that I hope will encourage you to donate is that your money will be matched. No donation is too small. Every dollar you give will be matched dollar for dollar by us here at Hall. And on top of that, the Redwood Credit Union is going to match your dollar for dollar. So for every dollar you donate, 3 will go to the victims, and 100% of what you donate goes straight to the victims. One of the things we love about partnering with the Redwood Credit Union is that they set aside a community fund of their own to cover all the costs of administration for programs like this. So when you give $1, you will know that you will not only be giving $3, but it'll be $3 that go straight to those people who need it. So I hope we can encourage you to do that. On the other hand, our wineries are open. The wine country is things are getting better and better for us here. So we've got blue skies, and the tasting rooms are open, not only for outside tasting, but to a limited extent because we all need to be distanced, but we can do some tastings for you inside. So if you're interested in visiting us, you can come visit us online at Hall and also at Walt and also at Baca. And make an appointment to come see us. So we'd love to have you. We miss seeing you up here in Napa Valley and Sonoma Valley, and we want you to come. So please feel comfortable doing that. Now, the 2 wines that Beth and I are going to be tasting today are these. So we're going to start with our Merlot, and that's a 2016, and then we are going to move on to our Napa Valley Cabernet. So we'll be tasting all of that in just a few minutes. So that's probably enough of things to go through before we do what I'm really excited about doing, and that is welcoming our very special guest. This is a wonderful woman who has helped us with charitable fundraising in the past up here in Napa Valley. She was our guest of honor for the Cabernet Cook-Off a couple of years ago. These are back in the days when we could all get together in person. And she's an actor, she's a comedian, she was the star of Two Broke Girls, she's now a star of The Neighborhood, she's an author, she's a philanthropist, she's an activist, and so much more. So let's bring on my wonderful guest, Beth Behrs. Now, let me see you, Beth, because I am sure you are here. And I'm looking for you. And there she is. Beth, you're here, and you're coming on, and we're going to wait for her, and I'll get my wine. And there she is.
Hello!
Hey! So
Hi.
wonderful to see you again.
You too. I just adore you and Hall Wines, and my husband and I were just saying how much fun we had getting to know you and your family and the vineyard and everything, and I'm so glad you didn't lose too much in the fires. I know my parents live up in Petaluma, so I know it's been really scary times up there, and what a beautiful thing you're doing to raise money for the relief fund. That's wonderful. So, like you always do.
Thank you so much for saying that, Beth. That's really great. So are your parents okay?
They're totally okay. We were just saying they always have sort of a bag packed now, it seems, up in Sonoma County. But thank God, we're one of the lucky ones, as I know. I'm so glad your team members and everybody was okay too, because I can't even imagine.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Not sad, but
so much has been happening since I got to see you last. So, The Neighborhood. You've been on The Neighborhood. This is how long it's been. You are about the third season starts, I think, on November 16th.
Yes, Monday, November 16th. Man, first of all, we are just so excited to be back. It's been obviously a new world. I said it kind of feels like space. There's lots of plexiglass. There's lots of face shields and masks, and we're not allowed to remove our masks for rehearsals or run-throughs or anything. So you literally don't see the other actor's face till they say rolling on the day when you're doing your scene, which is like, oh, that's what you were doing. Like, it's exciting because it's like this whole new level of comedy. You're like, oh, that's what your mouth looks like when you say that joke. Great. So it's more like real life. You're just, but yeah, we get tested every other day. So it's very safe. Knock on wood, the cast, the crew, everybody's been safe and taking, all the stay-at-home orders seriously and trying not to infect anybody and staying COVID-free. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for people to see our first episode back. It's more like a drama episode. It's
Really?
Yeah, we did a Black Lives Matter episode that I'm so proud of. Proud of CBS. I'm proud of our writers, our cast. It's probably my favorite episode of television I've ever shot. I hope people will find it meaningful, and there'll be laughter, but there'll be tears too.
Oh, I love that, Beth. Actually, your whole show, the whole concept of The Neighborhood is just really so wonderful. I mean, it delivers a message in between the laughter that it's really
wonderful. And that's what they wanted from day one with Cedric and Jim Reynolds, our amazing EPs, and it's such a collaboration between those two, and even us on set, it's like it's so much fun getting to sort of like have the same conversations our characters have on the show, which is like so cool. And it's truly a dream job. I'm so happy to be back and distracted from 2020 from 8 to 5 or whenever I am working.
Yeah. So you on Two Broke Girls, and also on The Neighborhood.
We're Two Broke Women now.
Is it okay?
10 years later.
Yeah, I'm just so PC. What can I say? So, but but you used to shoot before a live audience, right?
Yes, both shows shot a live audience.
Yeah.
Two Broke Girls for those years was live, and then now obviously we don't have a live audience. We actually do have, it looks like a hockey gym in the stands because there's plexiglass. We do have like an odd audience of like, there's less than 10 people that are sort of 8 feet apart with glass and masks laughing. So it does still feel like there's some live element, but it's not the same, that rush, that energy. But we've kind of had to figure out how to do it for each other, like throw in little things or you know, we're always laughing all day there. So we're just so grateful to be back and happy to be with each other. So it's been great. But the live audience, I'm sure musicians miss that too. Everybody who's used to that energy. It's rough. Yeah.
Oh, yes. But you are giving us so much joy while you're going through this. You know, I actually read and also heard about, so on some of the soap operas, how they are using dummies as stand-ins. Yeah, you're not doing anything like that.
We haven't done that yet. I did have to kiss Max Greenfield. Oh God, what a terrible job to have to kiss Max Greenfield. But we both were kind of like, we have to kiss, like COVID. Wait, we're negative, so it was like a weird, like, I don't know how they do it on soap operas where they have love scenes all the time. Like,
yeah. Crazy. So listen, I don't want to get this away because we have 2 wines to taste, lady. So let me, I am going to pass you, this is our first bottle. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I'd like to
it's the Merlot, right?
It's the Merlot.
Yes.
Right, and this is our 2016 Merlot.
Yes.
Ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Here we go. Oh, you got it. What a pro.
Thank you, Catherine. Y'all, if you have not had this wine, well, if you're listening, you probably have had this wine. But for any of my people watching, you must get this wine. It will change your life.
Oh, you are so great. So listen, to everybody who is watching and Beth's fans and our folks from the winery, ask questions. Beth has said that she will answer questions. We'll get to as many as we can. So be sure to do that. And what reminded me to say that is I see we've already got a question, Beth. So I'm going to put on one of your questions here, which is, okay, well, here's the first one I think that came in. And that is, what show do you like to binge? I guess, do you like to binge any shows? That's my question.
Love to binge. Okay, so currently it's not a binge because they're releasing episodes every Friday night, but the Great British Baking Show, I wait every Friday night to watch. And during the pandemic, my husband and I binged Parks and Rec. We've been doing Parks and Recreation from the beginning because it just makes us laugh, and we wanted something that was light at night to watch. So those have been my light binges. Yes. What are you binging?
Totally. Did you just ask me what I'm binging?
Yeah. Are you binging?
Yeah. I am. But I'll tell you what, it is not light, and but I love it. And it's called The Bureau. The Bureau. It's this French series, and it's fabulous, but it's utterly distressing.
Yeah.
I mean, no. And I heard you talk about Parks and Rec on one of your podcasts recently.
Yes.
And it's like, I thought, I should be doing that,
Yeah, Glennon Doyle was on the podcast, our first episode, and she was basically like, the answer to 2020 is Amy Poehler. Because she'll always make you laugh. She'll always make you happy. I mean, it's just, Amy Poehler is always the answer. We actually talked about getting t-shirts that say Amy Poehler is always the answer. And then Harmonics podcast, because people loved it so much. But I highly recommend it if you haven't watched the show, or even if you have, watching it again, because it's so funny. That ensemble's so talented. Rob Lowe and Chris Pratt, all of them. I mean, it's like,
Yeah. And I don't remember which show this was on, but I also heard you talk about Friends on one show. Was that the same episode? And I thought, wow, that's so interesting. I'd be curious to go back and listen to that, because it was so many years ago that society has changed.
That's what Glennon was saying, that Glennon Doyle was watching it with her family.
That was the same show. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and was sort of like almost like taken aback by some of the like jokes and things that just wouldn't be right in 2020, like some homophobia and some things. And I was like, oh my gosh, that show. I mean, Friends and Will and Grace made me want to be a comedian. So I can't imagine going back and like being disappointed, in it. But I guess it was different times. Luckily, we've come a long way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I say I have a bunch of little questions, rapid fire thing I put together that maybe, for your fans who are watching, maybe there's some things they don't know yet. And
should I pour this wine?
Oh my goodness, yes, pour
I haven't poured the wine.
Oh, you've got to pour the wine. So that's a requirement. Now,
this is from my restaurant days. This this wine pour.
Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, by the way, that was nicely done. Not too
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little later, but
Okay.
let's go. But anyway, cheers.
Cheers. Ooh. Oh, that's so good.
It is yummy.
Oh my
It really
gosh,
is
that
good.
Merlot is yummy.
Thank you. Okay, first question. What was your first job?
Like job, not acting job, just job in general. I worked, my dad was a vice president of actually Dominican University in Marin County. And that I worked as like a, running copies, doing whatever they needed in the office.
That's so great. Yeah. It's funny. So many of us, I think, start out working in the offices of one of our parents. I did the same. It's great. It's
Well,
a
my
nice way to
second
say.
job was Chili's waitress, and I was so bad at it. I cried in the bathroom my first night because you know how Chili's has those huge beer, like big beer glasses. I didn't know. No one told me, so I had a table of 10, and I just put them all on one tray and walked over and spilled it over the entire. And I was like, that my waitressing days didn't go well, and then it worked because I played a waitress who was bad at waitressing on TV. So life imitated art, which is great.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, next question. When did you realize that comedy was your thing?
Well, I did I think I told this story on Jimmy Fallon once, but I did a school project where we had to research Ferdinand Magellan, the explorer. And my final project in fourth grade was I dressed up as him, but I did him as a whole character who like had physical comedy bits. He was clumsy, he fell out of the chair and all this stuff. I don't know where I came up with it, but then my teacher was like, thought it was so funny that she got the morning news of like the whole school to like let me do the comedy bit on the morning news. So I was playing like a flamboyant Ferdinand Magellan falling over chairs on the morning news in fifth grade. And I also, in high school, was class clown. Like, I was always making jokes. It was crazy because I was very academic. I had straight A's. I went to UCLA. My parents were both educators, so, like, I was really academic, but I was a real clown, and so I would get kicked out of the class. But the teachers liked me because I got straight A's. So they were like, she disrupts the class, but she's all right. I mean, she's an A student.
So, that's so cool.
What a
Okay.
nerd.
So let's these next couple of questions relate to health because that's
Okay.
I've seen you sort of move in that direction or be in that direction publicly more. I think you are eating more of a plant-based diet. Tell us about what would be a go-to meal for you, say for lunch.
So I've written about this before, but I don't love vegetables. It's like one of my biggest sadness in life is because like I want to eat more vegetables, but I've discovered that in smoothies, you can put broccoli, Brussels sprouts, spinach, lettuce, whatever. And I pile the greens, zucchini noodles, butternut squash noodles. I'll pile vegetables in, and then I'll do half vegetables, half fruit, and some dates, just some pitted dates. And it tastes delicious and sweet, and you can't taste the Brussels sprouts. So my go-to lunches have been like full of vegetables and fruits, hemp seeds for protein, maybe like an almond milk, something like hefty, and then I bring it in a cooler to work, and it's great. I have these like Shark Tank. I found on Shark Tank there's these bottles that keep your smoothies cold for like 20 hours. So
oh my gosh.
I'll take like 2 big things of them and drink them throughout the day. So that's sort of my plant-based lunch now at this point.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. Okay, next. What got you interested in equine therapy? And I see that you've got horses behind you. That's so perfect.
Horses are all over this house. My husband's like, we are not allowed to get any more horse stuff because now he has a horse. He just rescued 2. So we're like full on horse people. We have 2 horses now that are like loves of our lives. But it was actually on Two Broke Girls, the stress of it all just was really, the pressure and everything was starting to really take a toll on my body. And Whitney Cummings, who is a co-creator of Two Broke Girls and an incredible writer and comedian, she said to me, I have this friend who works with horses. I think for your anxiety, she's an equine therapist. I think she'd be really great for you. So I started working with her. Within 2 months, I rescued a horse of my own. I fell madly in love with how I felt. You know, horses are prey animals. So they're so in tune, you know, they can spot a mountain lion. They can feel a mountain lion from a mile away. And so when you're working with a horse, they only respond to authenticity and groundedness. And so you really have to sort of own what you're feeling in the present moment in order to connect with them. And as all Zen Buddhist monks and everybody's, Eckhart Tolle, everybody's saying is get into the present moment. So I think one of the things that helps anxiety is that the horses force you to come into the present and know that your authentic self is enough to show up and correspond with them and have a relationship, which has been truly the most magical part of my life. And then my sister's a survivor of sexual assault. And so we started a program to bring other survivors working with horses for equine therapy. And actually in the spring, I really want to do a program that's just geared towards women and our mental health right now. Any sort of mental health. I want to open it up, not just to survivors, but to really just like, let's come together as women. You know, women are so powerful when we're in a room together. Let's do women, horses, and a workshop where we're coming together to, you know, combat the stigma behind mental health and mental illness and all that.
Wow, Beth, here. Count me in on that.
Yes,
That's
right?
really wonderful.
We could all use it during 2020. Everybody's mental health, but primarily women. I think there's something powerful about a group of women warriors coming together. So
me too. You know, have you ever been? There's a resort in Arizona called Miraval where they do.
Yes, I have never been there, but I've heard that the man who runs their equine therapy program is the top like guy who started it all. And yes, he's amazing. And Linda Kahanov, Kahonab, she's written incredible books about the healing power of horses. And I've really dove into her work recently as well, just on the horse healing front, if anybody's interested in that, learning more.
Fabulous. Yeah, love that. Well, I went through that at Miraval and I just loved it. Okay,
wow.
Let me get, one more question. So this is a question actually that I've heard you ask many times because you ask each of your guests on your Harmonics podcast. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Harmonics podcast a bit later in this program, but I'll just tell you, everybody, if you are not yet listening to this podcast, you need to be, because it's just, it's important and enjoyable. So anyway, here's the question that Beth asks people, one of the questions she asks at the end. If you could bring 3 records with you to a deserted island, who to bring and why? What to bring and why?
Oh my gosh. So Brandy Carlisle actually on the podcast asked me this back, and it was so hard. And in the moment I freaked out. So I'm really glad you're asking me, because I've had a lot of time since to really think about it. So Dolly Parton's my favorite. So literally anything, but I really like her album Just Because I'm a Woman. That was one of her earlier albums. Dolly's hard because I love all her albums, but something Dolly. John Prine. Again, I don't know, maybe In Spite of Ourselves, his album In Spite of Ourselves. I think being a comedian who also loves music, and we lost him to COVID-19, unfortunately, in April. But he really has taught me a lot about comedy and the rhythm of comedy in his songwriting. So John Prine. Third is like Brandy Carlisle, who I had on Harmonics, is definitely any of her albums. But I also, it's so hard because I'm such a music fan. But
actually, you're a singer too, don't you sing?
I do. But I think, I think Emmylou Harris. Anything Emmylou Harris.
Wow. Look at all the hearts you just got on that one.
I'm Emmylou Harris fan. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's talk just a minute about this wine here.
Yes, please.
So this is a Merlot, and I wanted to have this on our show today because everybody is starting to think about the holidays, and I think that Merlot is a wonderful wine for getting together at Thanksgiving and at Christmas time, because this is the Merlot is the classic pairing with duck and turkey. So if you in France it's duck. They don't have much turkey over there.
Right.
And for us, it's sort of duck and turkey, but it's just wonderful, really soft, beautiful red wine that has weight like a Cabernet, but without the edge of a Cabernet. And often Merlot is put into with Cabernet as a blending wine, particularly in France. But some of the very finest wines in the world are 100% Merlot, and we wanted to give this a go using a Napa Valley Merlot, which I think is really very nice.
It's so smooth. You're right. There's something about it. It's not so heavy like a Cabernet. I feel like Merlot gets a bad rap from Sideways. Didn't that movie? And I love Merlot. Like, I love this wine, and I feel like it's like it got a bad rap, but it's a beautiful wine.
Right. It's really true, and because it has lost a lot of popularity, it is I think underpriced. I mean, there's not that much out of it, and people don't make much of it. But at the same time, the price of this wine tends to be, I think, relatively low for the quality of wine that's in the glass. So
yeah, beautiful.
No, it is. It's beautiful. It's rich and it's dark and lots of dark berries, and I just think it's
very fall. There's something very like. I love the change of seasons in wine. I feel like that's my favorite part of wine, and I can't wait to try the Cab. But this one feels like October. Like I'm like, ooh, this is an October wine.
Yeah, nice. Thanks. All right. So, Beth, let's talk just a bit about harmonics.
Yes.
So, for those of you who may not know the podcast, it's about healing, it's about music and healing, and that's maybe I'll stop right there. Beth, talk to us about harmonics. Where did you get the idea for this, sort of the idea of healing and music as a sort of working together?
Yeah, well, as we all know, the pandemic especially in the beginning when it was so new and we were all locked down, it was really taking a toll on my mental health. And some of the things over the years, like, meditation, yoga, that used to be really helpful for me, it was really hard for me to drop in and sort of make that anxiety go away. But I started to put on records, and I also started learning how to play the banjo. And music just got me out of my head and into my body. And there was something so healing about it. And so I started to think about that and just the intersection of creativity, wellness, and spirituality all together, because I think creativity in general, whatever your art form, even winemaking is creative. When we express ourselves creatively, I feel like it's sort of like a divine connection to whatever you believe in, universe, God, Buddha, whoever.
Right.
I think there's
I'm with
something.
you.
Yeah, right? And so I honestly, nerdily, just wanted to talk to my heroes. Glennon Doyle, I read Untamed multiple times. I think she's going to be, if not already, one of the most powerful female voices we have out there. And so I just wanted to start asking these people questions that I wanted to know. Like Brandi Carlile, I saw her do in front of Joni Mitchell's Blue at Disney Hall last year. And it felt like a spiritual experience. It was so incredible. And I had no idea that she had panic and anxiety before it, and how deeply she had to fight through panic and anxiety, which then made me feel less, alone with anxiety and mental health. And so I've been so lucky that the guests we've had on so far have been so open and vulnerable. And I myself have found I'm usually pretty tight-lipped about my personal life or things that I've gone through, but I've found that in order to get your guests to sort of feel comfortable and that it's a safe space, you have to open up as well. And I honestly feel like everyone I've interviewed, I now feel like they're dear friends. Like, even though it was virtual, I feel so close to them, and I can't wait to keep doing it. It feels like there was something this was meant to happen, and I'm really grateful that people are listening and hopefully having some feelings that they're not alone in this 2020, year and beyond.
Beautifully said. Again, this is the Hall Wines Happy Hour. My name is Catherine Hall. I'm here with my amazing guest, Beth Behrs, and we're talking about wines, and we're talking right now about Beth's wonderful podcast, Harmonics. So, Beth, you have a sort of another sort of series of questions that you do on your program where you do this blank room exercise where you tell people to go into a blank room and you ask them what they're hearing, what are they smelling. Tell us a bit about that and what's the idea behind that?
Yeah, that was actually an idea of my executive producer and partner in this, Amy Reitnauer Jacobs. She's the head of, her and Ed Helms run the Bluegrass Situation. So Harmonics is in partnership with Ed Helms's and Amy Reitnauer Jacobs' company, the Bluegrass Situation, which is an incredible, if you're a roots music fan, they are the ones to go to. And she had said, I can't remember where exactly she had heard the exercise, but when it's sort of a like rapid fire like you do where you don't have a lot of time to think and you just imagine yourself in a blank room, what comes up. And there's been some really funny answers and then there's also been some really beautiful answers because a lot of times it'll be, you know, my wife's hand or something just really magical that they're touching or smelling or some, you know, you get to know a person if it's the sea or the mountains, like what are they smelling, what are they feeling? And I just felt like it was a deeper, different way to get inside the guest a little bit.
Yes. It also, I think that whole process, it just, again, it takes you inside, which brings you to the moment.
Yes.
Which is just so healthy.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
Have you ever been in one of those, they used to have these tanks, you know, where you would go in and you would lie in. I've never done it.
I've never done it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm surprised I haven't done it because I tend to try whatever the new wellness thing is. Yes. I'm always like, ooh, what's this do for you? But I have not tried that. But the ones that are like the floating chamber where you're just like floating, I know. It's here. I hear it's supposed to be amazing. We should do it someday. When COVID free. Yeah. Totally.
Love it. Okay, let's go. We should go to our next wine.
Ooh.
Okay. Una Mas. So this is our Napa Valley Cabernet, and I'm going to pass this down to you. And
there it is.
Connection yet again. I love it.
We're like this, Catherine. We're like.
I know.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, we're talking. We are in the moment. We are one. So. Well, okay, pour yourself a glass so while you're doing that, I'll say no. So we make a lot of different Cabernets at Hall, and many of them are single vineyard, just grapes from one particular vineyard. Some of them are blends from specific areas where we want to reflect a particular area. The goal of this wine is to reflect Napa Valley as a whole. So, and there are certain qualities that I think are representational of Napa. We tend to have fruit that's it's fruit forward. We have a lot of depth, a lot of intensity of flavors, usually some nice sort of black plum, dark fruit on the nose, some nice, if we're lucky that year, a mineral, as we are this year in the 2017, some nice minerality on the finish. But anyway, so the goal of this wine is to represent the valley as a whole. And cheers.
Love that. Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh.
I have to admit something to you, Catherine.
Yes.
So, I don't think you know this unless Lindsay, my publicist, has told you guys, but I am traditionally always been, before I met you, an old world wine girl.
No, I didn't know that.
I was old world. I was not, into the new world stuff, Amarone, a Bordeaux from France, I was, and I came and had Hall wines, or actually I think we had Hall wines somewhere else, and I was like, thought it was old world, but it was new world, and a sommelier friend of mine tricked me. And I was like, this wine is incredible. And now, of course, Hall Wines is my favorite. But it was like, you turned me. Hall Wines turned me.
Oh, thank you. I think there is so much there's so much. I could write books about the qualities of, not write a book about it, but talk for hours about how the quality of old world wines. I love old world wines. However, I think the goal that we have at Hall is to be able to combine the nuance that you get from the old world. So those sort of the subtleties on the aromas and the subtleties in the flavor, but combine them with the ripeness of fruit that we can get in Napa that you really can't get anywhere else, really anywhere else. And so it's a lot of attention to detail. It's like it's not easy to do it, but I actually think that if you can do it right, I don't want to be a Bordeaux wine, but I do want our wines to rank among the best in the world. And you need to know who you are, you know.
Yes.
You sort of.
But I now Hall's a staple at our house in our wine fridge. We have a quite massive wine fridge.
Well, good.
As you should. But yeah, we love it, and I've definitely opened my palate since meeting you, for sure, and because, you know, I lived up north, I should be in New World. My best friend Matt, who I grew up with in Marin, he's like, I can't believe you're not New World. Like we were raised here. And I was like, well, now I am. Yeah. Now with Hall Wines, I am.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm honored. Yeah. That's really wonderful. Okay. So we are getting more and more. Oh, the questions are sort of mounting here. So I want to, let's take a couple questions here.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. All right. So here's one. If you could rate, this is not on topic, but I think it's a fun question.
Okay.
Not on topic in the sense of health or wine, but if you could raid any celebrity's closet, who would it be?
Ooh. Wow. Okay, so it's a celebrity to me, but I don't know if everybody will know them. But there's a woman named Christy Dawn who makes the most incredible prairie dresses, and she's using regenerative cotton and regenerative agriculture. So it's super climate change conscious fashion, but it's also like, she just came out also with a pair of overalls, and because I'm a horse farm girl, I can do like the prairie dresses for dinner and her overalls and jeans and stuff at the barn, and her closet is all her stuff. So it would be my dream closet. Christy Dawn.
Christy Dawn. So is it D-A-W-N?
D-A-W-N. And her Instagram is @ChristyDawn. Yes.
Fabulous. Great to know. Oh, I love that. Very cool. Okay. Was it hard to create chemistry with Max, or is he a natural?
He's a natural. You know, Max and I did a movie with the incredible Sally Field. I think it was, gosh, I don't even know what year, 2012, 2013. So we had met and played boyfriend and girlfriend, and now we play husband and wife years later on television. But the chemistry was instant for both that movie and The Neighborhood. So yeah, he's great. He's a wonderful dad, wonderful husband. He's a good person. I'm very lucky.
Oh, I love hearing that. You know, speaks to a question that I have, and that's just about, it seems to me that when you work on a show as long as you have, I mean, you know, 6 years on Two Broke Girls, and now you're in your third year for The Neighborhood, I would think that you sort of develop this feeling of family. And
100%. Yeah, I mean, I had this growing up doing theater too. I think because you're being so vulnerable when you're like jumping off a cliff in front of a live audience together, that it's sort of an instant family. And then as the years go on, you see those people more than you see your own family. Yeah. I mean, you're with them 22 episodes out of the year, 10 months out of the year. So it really is. And The Neighborhood there's something special. We've all said it, that this doesn't come around that often, the camaraderie and the feeling, even the crew feels it. Like there's something like magic on this set. So we're lucky. Yeah.
That's really great. I am really excited to hear you talk about this. It's going to be the first episode, the Black Lives Matter episode.
Yeah, it'll be the first episode on November 16th. Yeah.
Whoa. Powerful. Okay. I'm going to take one more question. Okay. And then let's see. Oh, okay. This is I think this is actually a question that all of us are cooking more and more. Now that we're home, we're thinking more and more about, uh, what we're having for dinner. So or what we're making.
Yeah.
So here's the question. So what has been over the time? What's your favorite COVID meal?
Ooh, my husband got very into making homemade bread. He
Oh, lucky
like
you.
dove really deep into the COVID bread making. So that would be he does most. He's like basically could be a professional chef. He's so good at making food. So I'm not very good at chefing, but he makes the most incredible. He got really into bread baking during COVID, and that's been
Oh
a
my
dream.
God, he's so cute and he cooks too. How great is that?
I know. I got a keeper. I got a keeper for
Oh,
sure.
so
I
do you eat gluten free or?
So I have been actually more recently been eating gluten-free, plant-based primarily. But the thing with fresh bread is I don't notice that much of a difference when it's fresh with the gluten. Like I feel like there's something healthier about it. But we've also found a bakery down here called Super Bloom Bakery in Culver City that makes gluten-free vegan bread that's like to die for. So we've also sort of been cheating when he doesn't bake and going there too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, we eat gluten free too, and
Wow.
for me, I like the bread toasted better when it's gluten free, but I don't know. So anyway, well, Beth, it has just been so fun, and we've gone over time, but it's just been a really fun
Ew.
conversation. I
This
want to
has been
say,
awesome. And my
yeah.
husband's not here, so I get to drink these 2 bottles by myself tonight.
Yes, you do, and you better. I hope so.
Yes.
So anyway, it's
Thank you
just
so much.
any last words to you've got so many fans who've been watching us over the course of the last half hour. So any last words before you take off?
Just thank you, everybody, and make sure you check out Hall and this incredible show. Now you know Catherine if you didn't before. So check them out every week. They've had some incredible guests, and you get to learn about wine. I'm going to be tuning in so I can learn more and not just be old world seasonal, you know,
Wonderful. Well,
gal.
thank
Yes.
you. Well, I
Thanks,
see you soon. I
Catherine.
hope in person
Yes.
when all of this life changes a bit, but in the
For sure.
meantime,
I love that the tasting room's open again. If I was up there, I'd be there.
cool. Okay. Well,
Thanks,
hope to see you
Catherine.
there. Bye-bye.
Yes.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, how wonderful. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. Isn't Beth just amazing? Not only a great actress, a wonderful comedian, she is just, but what she's doing, I think, in the area of health has just made a difference in a lot of our lives. And so I'm really happy that you could be here to join us today. Again, one more reminder about our Wildfire Relief Fund. Remember that for every dollar you donate, and there's no donation too small, we at Hall will match that dollar for dollar. And on top of that, the Redwood Credit Union will match dollar for dollar. So every dollar you give is $3, and 100% of what you donate goes straight to the victims, straight to the people who need it, because the Redwood Credit Union is very graciously covering all the administrative costs of administering this program. So hope that you will give us a chance and donate. Also, if you are coming up to the wine country, remember we would just love to have you come see us. And before you get to come, we'll be back. We'll be here on these happy hours coming up. Our very next happy hour is going to be on Instagram next week. Tuesday, Jeff is going to be on with Bill Engvall, who is a comedian that you're just going to love. And that's going to be on Walt Instagram Live. And I will be back every week going forward as well with many other wonderful guests. So to you all, let me get my glass in hand and say to you, thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for supporting the Wildfire Relief Fund and for being part of our show today. I look forward to seeing you again. Until we meet again, sip up, please vote, and stay safe.